Hey everyone, it's Arcandus. Thanks for tuning in to another Outward video. And of course, moving along to our next weapons here, we are going to be going over the offhand weapons. Now, quick disclosure before we do get into the offhand weapons, I'm not going to be going over a full build for each of these weapons. I'm going to be going over the first couple skills you can purchase without spending a skill point. So the cool thing about this game is there's a couple trees that you can get skills for the offhands, but you don't have to fully commit, so you can test out these offhands, see which one you prefer the most, and then you can commit to the full build. So with that being said, I know people were worried about that there were not that much of a selection with the one-handed weapons, but with the offhand weapons, there's a large variety you can choose from and a good amount of combos that you can do with them. So moving forward here, and I know you guys see it, and this is not a troll, the first offhand we are going to be going over is the lantern. Now, don't sleep on the lantern at all. This has helped me in so many situations, especially the early game. And the cool thing about the lantern, right off the bat, you get a skill called Throw Lantern. So it throws your equipped lantern on the enemy, creating a zone of fire for 5 seconds. Using this skill destroys the lantern. And again, I can't stress how many times this has saved me, especially in the first couple of days, especially against those first 2 mercenaries that you do fight. It can help you in a pinch. And I do want to say that you can craft them. It takes 2 iron scraps, thick oil, and linen cloth. So you can run around with a couple of these bad boys on you and throw them at the enemy if you ever needed the extra damage. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what throwing a lantern at someone looks like. Okay, and one thing to note I wanted to add with the lantern is you always want to assign your lantern to a quick slot so you can equip the next lantern and then throw it immediately. So let's go ahead and fight this guy. So through a lantern, I equipped it with E, so I have another one in my hand, and you just this is so fun. You just throw lanterns at people, and you can see how much this helps in the early game. I know it might not be feasible with all the with all the mats you have to spend, but look how much damage it does. It does help so much. So yeah, that's the lantern. Alright, so the next offhand we're going to be going over is of course the dagger. Now, the cool thing about the dagger is you do get a skill automatically when you start the game, so you don't have to pay for any of this or anything. It does come with your character as soon as you start, but it's called Dagger Slash. It's just a simple attack with a dagger. It costs 2 stamina at a 0.5 cooldown. So you can pretty much spam this as much as you want. I mean, it does cost stamina, but not too much stamina, so you can use it a lot. And it does advance you a little bit forward, something to note as well. The other thing I do want to note is that you can craft the shiv, so the base dagger, and it just costs 1 iron scrap and 1 linen cloth. And compared to the other beginner weapons, the iron sword, axe, and mace, it does do more damage and more impact than the iron sword and axe. However, it falls short to the mace in damage, but causes the same impact. And as you've seen in my one-hander video, the mace is slow. So keeping that in mind, you can spam this attack, doing more damage than the iron axe and sword, and possibly more than the iron mace, since it's a little bit faster. So we'll go over that in the combat video, see how it looks like, but I do want to go over the other skills for the dagger as well. So the 2 base skills you can get for the dagger is backstab. So it's a dagger attack. If the attack hits the enemy's back, the damage and impact are tripled. And then opportunist stab, which is a dagger attack. If the enemy has the pain or confusion hex, this attack's damage and knockback are doubled. If it has both, they are quadrupled instead. So you can see how strong the dagger can get. So it's pretty cool to see those paying off if you're standing behind them, of course, and if there's buffs on the enemy. So let's go ahead and see how these look. That's opportunist stab, and this is backstab. So we'll go ahead and take a look at how these skills look like in combat. And I'm sorry, before I do go into the combat with the daggers, the 2 skills you can get, the backstab and opportunist stab, you can get from the rogue trainer in the Levant slums. His name is Styx, and both of these skills are going to cost about 150 silver in total. Alright, so the next offhand we are going over is the pistol. Now, the pistol is also one of those offhands where you get a skill for it as soon as you start the game, and that skill is fire reload. So you just load the equipped pistol with a bullet, or fires if it's already loaded. Some abilities load special bullets into your pistol, which are fired using this skill. Alright, so as it says, you have to put a bullet inside your gun before you shoot it, and of course that's obvious. And I don't believe you can purchase bullets in Cierzo, but I do want to let you know they are easily crafted. All you would need is 1 thick oil and 1 iron scrap to craft 3 bullets. So you don't have to purchase the bullets at all, you can just craft them yourself. And one thing to note is on the bottom you see where my E skill tree is, or my skill bar is, where it has the pistol. Right now it has a circle around it, that means it's not loaded. So in order to load it, you have to use that skill to load your gun, and it takes a little bit. Then once you load your pistol, it changes the picture to show that the gun is loaded. And then from there on, once you press the button again, you could shoot it again. And it looks like the the bullet went pretty far. I'm not sure the range, but it did not have any bullet drops, so it kept going. So the one thing to note with just the base pistol is that it will take a little bit to load. So you want to make sure you get a good amount of distance from your enemy, or if you just want to start the battle with the pistol, the base pistol does a really high amount of impact and a good amount of damage. So you can start off, shoot the enemy, and go in to attack. So now we'll go over the skills, the 2 skills that you get from the trainer. And the trainer is found in Levant. He's in the main city, not the slums. You can purchase these 2 skills, which come up to about 150 silver as well. So the first skill is called Shatter Bullet. It's a 5-second cooldown. It requires a pistol, of course, and iron scraps on your person. So in your pocket, preferably, or if you have your backpack on, in your backpack. So you load a bullet with a high impact. Load a bullet with high impact, which also inflicts pain. Shooting it requires the use of the fire reload skill. So since you already have that skill, you wouldn't have to matter. So let's go into this skill. And the cool thing about the skill is you see how my gun isn't loaded. If I have iron scraps and I use the skill, it automatically reloads my gun so you can shoot it. So we'll do it again, and it looks like it does not cost a bullet at all, it just takes up the scrap. So that's cool. And then the next skill we have from the trainer without committing is the Frost Bullet. So load the pistol with a bullet that makes a short distance blast, which slows enemies, removes your cool boon. Of course, shooting it requires the use of the fire reload skill. So as it says, in order to use this skill, you would have to have the cool boon. And you can easily get the cool boon at 50 silver from when you get your mana. One of the trainers inside that mountain does train you in the cool boon. Or if you don't want to go with the mana and you don't want to get cool boon, you can just carry around these cool potions that give you the cool buff. So we'll go ahead and use the boon first. And then now we'll use the bullet. And now it loads the gun with the Frost Bullet so you can shoot. Pretty cool animation there. Then of course, once you use it, your cool boon is gone. And then we'll go ahead and show with the potion as well. So you'll drink the potion, use the skill, and then shoot the pistol. So let me see something really quick here. So if I already reload my gun, use a skill, will my gun still be loaded? No. Okay, so if you plan to use the skill, there's no point in wasting time loading your gun with a regular bullet, because that skill will take the bullet anyway, or take the charge that your gun is loaded, excuse me. So if you do plan to use the skill, don't waste your time to load your gun. It's already going to get a free bullet in there, so you don't have to waste your time there. So let's go ahead and see what the gun looks like in combat. Alright, the next offhand we're going to be going over is the Chakram. Now, quick thing to note, the difference from this offhand to the rest of the offhands is that you don't actually get a skill for it right off the bat. You can still purchase it here in Cierzo, but you're just going to be walking around with it in your hand, not using it at all. So in order to get the skills for the Chakram, you're going to have to go to the Philosopher Trainer in Monsoon. Both of these skills together are going to cost 150 silver, and those are just the two base skills without committing to the tree. There is another Chakram ability, but you would have to commit to the tree in order to get that one. So we'll just go over the two base ones here. And another difference with the Chakram is that in order to use the Chakram, you have to have the Discipline boon on you. So as you see, I'm trying to use the skills, won't be able to. And you can also get the Discipline boon, or it's called Focus. And it's going to go ahead, of course, give you the Discipline boon. It's 50 silver. It's right across from the Philosopher Trainer in Monsoon. The Warrior Monk Trainer will be able to teach you this so you can use your skills. So let's go ahead and use the boon here and go into the first skill. So the first skill is Chakram Pierce. So of course it requires the Discipline boom as well as the Chakram. You launch the disc forward, possibly hitting the enemy twice. Discipline is required to cast this spell. And then the next skill you can get is the Chakram Arc, which requires, of course, the boon as well. The disc sweeps the area in front of the caster, dealing high damage and impact. Discipline is required to cast this spell. So let's take a look at these spells here. So the first ability, Chakram Pierce. It's like a Captain America throw. You throw it, comes right back to you. And it's on a 6-second cooldown, so you can spam it. However, as you do see, it does cost mana. So if you did want to go ahead and use the Chakram abilities, you're going to go ahead and have to invest in mana. And then the next skill, Chakram Arc, 12-second cooldown. Sweeps like a cleave right in front of you. So you can use the Chakram at a pretty good range to keep the enemies off you with your Chakram Pierce. But if they do get close and personal, you can go ahead and use the sweep here or the Chakram Arc to back them off. And it does do a high amount of stability, so you can knock the enemy down really fast and go into your melee if they get too close. So let's go ahead and see how the Chakram looks like in combat. So the next offhand we would go into is the Lexicon. However, there's already a great guide out there that can pretty much show you all the steps for using the Lexicon and the magic capabilities to become a mage. And the channel is Click for Gameplay, and it's a great video. It explains it perfectly for everyone so they can learn how to use the runes and things like that. So if you want to go ahead and take a look at the magic possibilities with the Lexicon, go ahead and check out his video. Make sure to go ahead and like that video as well. It's a great guide, so go ahead and check that out, and I do appreciate it. But other than that, those are the offhands that you can use in Outward. Hopefully this does help. If I did miss anything, please let me know. I'm still learning and making sure that you guys get the most important and most detailed information and most accurate information is so important to me. So if I did miss anything, just let us know in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for the support, the love. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and everyone take care. Thank you.